right, MMA Junkie Nation, Gorgeous George and Goes are back. We got another superstar from the sport of mixed martial arts, former UFC, IFL, Bellator, WSOF fighter, now the fearless leader of the Bodyshop out in the LBC, and of course the father to AJ McKee. This is Antonio McKee. He's also a former MFC champion. What's going on, Coach? How are you?
Man, I'm at home just relaxing, enjoying the amenities in my household from my son's victory. You know, I'm just chilling right now, relaxing, training Kimbo Slice, getting him ready for his next fight. So, you know, everything's good, man. I'm right on target where I said we'd be. Thanks for bringing me back. I appreciate it.
Tell me now that it's been a few days since that big win at Bellator 263 for your son. What are you feeling? What have you processed these last few days? I'm sure that was a major accomplishment for you as a coach, guiding your son. But what else are you feeling?
You know what? Just trying to figure out the next move. You know, I want to make sure that he's done just and he's able to move forward in his career. Like I said before, I'm not surprised. He's the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. This kid is amazing. You guys haven't even seen him at his fullest potential yet. You've seen him finish 4 guys in the tournament in a row. One was considerably to be the best fighter in the world at 145 pounds and the marquee guy for Bellator. And he wiped him out like it wasn't nothing.
He sure did. And 3 of those wins were in the first round. Very, very impressive run. And you're right. Maybe he's been so good that he hasn't allowed us to see just how good he is because he's handling business quickly. So we're not getting to see all the other tools that he has in the toolbox.
Right. And I said this when you brought us out before. I said, hey man, I've got the crew. The Bellator takeover is real. We're gonna do it one belt at a time.
For sure. We remember that day. It was July of 2018. And I remember you told me that you thought AJ was already ready to be champion then. It took 3 years, but was it worth the wait? Was it worth? Did he get even better? And was it even easier on Saturday for you guys because of those 3 years of seasoning?
Yeah, it was. He would have won it back then, but it's unfortunately, you know, we had COVID. You know, you can't just walk in and beat the franchise guy. They have to build the momentum up for that fight. It has to be a fight that the fans want to see. And AJ came out of nowhere just mashing fools. And so they weren't ready for it. But he's been calling Pitbull out since his first fight. I don't think he would have won it his first fight, but after his 4th, 5th fight, I told him to just chill a little bit. I said, hey man, just go out there and have fun now. Don't show off and finish these guys so fast. And that's where I think we ran into problems because he got bored. And when he got bored, he started doing things that most fighters do when they're successful. He did it while he was acquiring to be successful. So now it's like nothing but you got to get powerhouse moves from here on out.
What do you personally feel should be next for him? Do you want him to stay within the division and start getting stacking up them title defenses? Because I know he's also teased moving up to 55, but I don't know if it's a tough weight cut or not. So how do you want to navigate this?
Well, we look at his health. I mean, he's young, but you know, he does everything right to a science. Within the first 24 hours of getting that low, an hour after weigh-in, he's on the clock where he has to put it back. Everything is dialed in very scientifically. He can stay at 45 if the money is worth it. But he'd like to move up to 155 and challenge some of these other veterans. He's interested in unifying the belts so he can prove once again that he's the best fighter in the world. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
Coach, you told us all of this about 3 years ago, down to a T, exactly what was going to happen. So I guess at this point, since it already happened, what's the next prediction? Who's the next guy?
Well, I don't think it's a prediction. I think we live a godly life and we believe in a higher power. We try to serve the creator. We don't care what name you use, Allah, Yahweh, Yeshua, Jesus, Jesus, whatever. It doesn't matter. But that you contact that spiritual side and you keep your body clean. You don't smoke. You don't drink. You eat good. You pray. You meditate. And I think we're discovering how powerful our family gene is by doing these things because we are being unbeaten, unblemished records. I did it in wrestling. I did it in MMA for a second, even with all the adversities. So it just goes to show when you do things right and you really put things in the spiritual realm, the physical power is unlimited.
We've talked about the effect that you've had on your students, on your family. Has there ever been somebody that you've watched from the outside? And this can go back years or even today, a fighter where you said, man, I wish I could grab a hold of that fighter and coach that fighter because I think I can make them even better. Is there one that stands out?
Absolutely. Jon Jones. I swear if I could just train that kid, he needs spiritual help. You know what I'm saying? He's got demons that's haunting him, which we all have those demons that are haunting us. But unfortunately, he comes from a very spiritual family. And if he does not do things the right way, he's going to always struggle spiritually. And I think for me being an outsider, being somewhat people call me a prophet. I don't know if I'm a prophet or not because I don't like labels. I don't like titles. But I seem to have an ability to see things, and make predictions of things that happen. And so far, since I've been baptized and gave my life to God, I've been hitting it nonstop.
It's funny you bring that up. It's something I've been meaning to talk to you about that happened a while back. But when everything went down with George Floyd, there was so much emotion going on in the world. And I just happened to be going through, I think it was Facebook, and you were doing kind of like a live chat. And I must have sent that link to just about every one of my friends because you had this way of just bringing everyone together, calming everybody down, but really approaching everything. You had this way of speaking. Do you remember that chat? And can you talk about like that I don't know if it's a responsibility or whatever it is you feel inside you that when you just have this knack of kind of bringing people together and just leveling a situation. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I remember it. Usually when I'm in the spiritual realm and I'm doing something spiritual, I don't remember everything that I say. But what I do know is that, that type of stuff's been happening in America since we've been here over 400 and something years. It's happened to almost every race. It is what it is. What can we do to fix it? It's people like you. It's people like me making the world aware of the way we're being treated. I grew up watching that happen every day. That's nothing new to me. Unfortunately, we're in 2021 and that stuff's still happening. I don't even think it's racism. I think it's just about fear, and I think it's about being angry. I think there's some very angry people in this world, and they display that anger toward people that are different than them, and it happens to be people of color. Because when you say racism, when I think of racism and racist, I look at the Constitution. That's racist. Racism is the laws that they set for us. When you go into a court system, the judge, I look at that level of it. I don't see just regular people. I think it's just fear. I put myself in the same situations that a lot of these officers are in, and I would probably shoot someone as well. I mean, we have to understand culturally, Black people, we're different. We were culturally different, and it is what it is. You don't have to accept our culture, but if you're going to police the area, you need to know our culture. So what do we need to do? We need to take the police departments in the inner city. We need to migrate them in with the children, and we need to educate the kids to become police officers, because I seen a situation, not to get off track, the other day, where there was a guy in the hotel we were staying at for the Bellator fight. He was an employee. He was ranting and raving, and he was bucking up, running up on my friend who happens to be white. He was calling him nigger, and he was trying to get some type of confrontation out of the kid, and my kid would have annihilated him. And then he just kept doing it, and so they called the police. The police came out. 2 Black officers showed up. Here's another Black guy that's doing all this ranting and raving and running up on the windows and just really just hostile. Now, that same scenario, had that been 2 white guys from Orange County, it would have been a whole different scenario. They probably would have maced him, shot him, or tased him. It's just we need to understand that we're culturally different, and we need to influence more people in the inner city communities to become officers because they understand the community. You can't take me and put me in Simi Valley in a uniform and I pull a car with a bunch of skinheads. I'm going to be more likely to shoot one of them, not because I don't like skinheads or I don't like white people, but because I fear them taking my life because I want to go back home to my family. So it comes back down to fear. Everyone's afraid, and they've perpetuated the black man to be so scary in America that everyone's afraid.
Coach, what happened with that scenario? Were they able to talk him down?
Dude, this was crazy. This went on for about a good 30 minutes to where Bellator had to use their staff to protect us. One black guy, he weighed about 135 pounds. We've got 20 fighters around us. We would have demolished this man. But the police handled it where we thought they didn't handle it aggressively enough. But you got to remember, you're in downtown LA. They see stuff like this every day. So they're not all hostile to kill. They have more of a relaxed sense when they're doing their patrol. They let this dude do all this stuff and he ended up walking away. I could not believe it. And I vocally made it a point for people to understand this is the difference between three black cops handling a situation versus a white guy down him by himself versus two white guys or a white female and a white cop. This guy would have, I'm telling you, they would have shot or maced or tased his ass and took him to jail. These black officers, they're from the community. They handled it so smooth like it was nothing. And Bellator saw it, and I said, this is what I'm talking about.
Interesting. We had heard about something going down at the Fighter Hotel, but I didn't know the details. And
that's what happened.
Fill this in. Wow. All right.
And it happens to be my guy, so it was intense. He was calling a white guy a nigga. He said, "Nigga, I'll fuck you up, nigga, 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 nigga." I'm like, I thought he was talking to me because he was looking dead at me. So I looked at him and kind of gave him a look, and I just kind of shook my head and turned away. When I turned away, he was still calling the N-word, and it was to a white guy. And I'm like, wait a minute, brother. Calm down. You're going to be okay. No, and he took his shirt off and ran at us. Security had to grab him. It was crazy.
Wow, that is insane. Going back to that night last weekend with AJ winning the title, when he got the standing guillotine and Pitbull tapped out, at that moment, what did you think?
I was excited for the win, but I've been calling this all week. I said, listen, Pitbull was very angry. You could tell. I said it like it was. I said, listen, this is just the wrong time, the wrong matchup. AJ's going to finish him. This is not going to be a hard fight. This is going to be probably one of our easiest fights. You go and you look up the interviews. I've been so consistent and so accurate that you might want to know if I'm a warlock or a wizard. No, I'm not. I'm just a man of God, and God gives me visions. And when I see these visions, I'm very quick to vocal it and say, God said this to me, because this is the same voice that kept me out of trouble when I was running the streets of LA and Compton and Watts in a very bad time in my life. You know, at the end of the day, I just want respect. I want respect for what I do, what I've done, and who I am as a human being, not as a black man. I want to be respected as a man. And I'm the best coach in the world. And I know a lot of people know that. I've had a lot of great fighters that tell me you're probably the best coach in the world. The complete package. Most fighters got to go over here, go over there, go over here, go over there, go over here. In my place, it's ran so unreal that you can come, and I've proven this and shown this. I take a kid who's 5 years old, and I take him and groom him to be the best fighter in the world with an unblemished record. How many people can say they did that? And he doesn't run off over here or run off over there. It was all done with my team, me, in one setting, and it was flawless all the way through. And this is why the Chuck Liddells, the Tito, the Rampages, you know, I'm training Rampage now, presently, and been training for the last 15, 20 years, Tyron Woodley. This is why these guys come to me, because I give them something that most coaches don't have. And most coaches don't have the ability to take their own ego out instead of trying to show them their way, show them the way that works for them. And you have to have a lot of knowledge. And when it comes to MMA, I've been here. I've taken great care of myself. In fact, I told Bellator I'd like to get a fight soon. I mean, what I'm doing is just, I'm such high level in the spirit to where I teach something that most coaches don't know how to teach.
That's interesting because, again, going back to our meeting in July of 2018, you wound up fighting a year later. You fought in September of 2019. I thought that one was it, but now you're saying you're getting the itch again, huh? 2 years later?
Now, it's not that I'm getting an itch. It's just time didn't permit me to fight because my son's career was important. My other fighters are important. Right now, we're going to have to renegotiate some contracts. There's going to be a delay. I want to get back in the ring and I want to fight. I love fighting. I want my son to corner me. I want to leave a legacy behind. People can think what they want. This is a professional sport. Let's treat it like that. Just because I'm not Conor McGregor or I'm not 22 years old, man, I got a lot of fight in me. I never took any damage. You know what I mean? I was a smart fighter. I take care of myself. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And at 51 years old, I can still let these things go. I train every day with my guys. It's just recovery. You just got to recover.
I don't know if you saw, but USA Today Sports and MMA Junkie ranked AJ McKee the #1 featherweight in the world ahead of Alexander Volkanovski. And I'm sure that's how you feel, but I wanted to know what your thoughts are on that, because more people in this sport will say, well, no, it's the other way around, but our website felt different.
Look, we already knew what we were up against when we started. And I told my son, I said, listen, this is what you're going to have to deal with. Are you sure you want to fight? He says, Dad, I want to fight. I said, okay, this is the way we're going to do this. We're going to have to take the long road, but we're going to take the strong road. Win the fans over, and you will impress the world. As long as you got the fans behind you, don't come out thugged out. Don't come out all ghetto. Come out as who you really are, so you don't have to change the course of that when you blow up and you're successful. We all know that the UFC does not have the best fighters in the world. They don't. I'm sorry to say. And this is why we're trying to push for some type of union to unify these belts. It's just not fair that we call this a sport, but yet we have an organization that'll pay my son $1 million, and you have another organization that only wants to pay him $100,000, but this is how he makes a living. This isn't right. So let's unify belts. Let's let these promotions take over the promoting part, and let's let these fighters take on the fighting part and let them do what they're capable of doing, and let's unify the belts. I've already talked to Scott Coker. Scott Coker's down with it, but why wouldn't the UFC do it? Why? Because it will water down the brand of the UFC when you've got fighters coming from Bellator over beating the crap out of guys from the UFC. We know that AJ is the best fighter in the world. It's not a question of it.
And you say, to follow up on that, AJ's the best lightweight in the world as well? Would you say that?
Man, this kid is something different. No matter where you put him. You haven't even seen him wrestle. He can wrestle his ass off. You haven't even seen him wrestle. All we've seen so far is him finishing everybody with ground techniques and striking. But he's got a level of wrestling that's out of control. Like, he's good everywhere. There is not a fighter on this planet that is complete like AJ McKee. If so, you tell me right now who it is.
He's as good as they come. You're right. I really enjoy watching him fight. He makes it look so easy. He makes the game look in slow motion, and that's what the great athletes do. That's what they used to say about Michael Jordan. So I'm anxious to see his run at 55. He's done great at 45, and that was a triumphant win on Saturday. Last question. AJ McKee actually did an interview with one of our colleagues, and he brought up an old bet, a lunch with Dana White. It says Dana White owes him a lunch. Are you going to go on that lunch too, Coach?
Only if Dana White requests me. Only if AJ wants me to go, I'll go. Like I said, I think Dana White has done a great, tremendous for the sport of MMA. On a personal level, do I like the guy? I did an interview the other day, and I said he was a piece of shit, and everybody's like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that." Listen, what I mean when I say stuff like this is Dana White is the #1 promoter for probably the most dominant promotion in the world, which is UFC. There's a certain level of conduct that I think he should conduct himself. When you kick guys out for what they say and what they do, you release them of their contracts, then you should uphold the same integrity with the way you talk to people, with the way you do things. I just didn't agree with some of the things he said. Being the icon that he is, I thought that he should have been more respectful to fighters like Oscar De La Hoya. Different reporters that have done interviews, honoring guys that have put everything that they've got into this sport and they fought their hearts out, and then to be treated the way I've seen some things. Most of the black fighters that I've talked to have said they felt the racial tension. I'm like, why is every black fighter telling me these things? I don't want to be involved in that. I just want what's best for my son's career. I look at my son as a company. I look at Dana White as a company owner. I just want respect. If I get respect, me and Dana White would probably be best friends. But if you come at me sideways, you're going to have to do something to me. You're going to have to get rid of me because I don't function like that.
Coach, do you want to see your son fight in 2021, or do you want to give him the rest of the year off and tackle it in 2022?
I want to see him fight tomorrow. This kid is hot. He loves to fight. It's in his blood. It boils in his blood. He wants to fight, but we've got contracts. We've got money issues that we need to resolve with Bellator. We sold over 500, 600 tickets just hand on hand. We sold over $100,000 worth of ticket sales. I mean, we are a franchise player. We're the guy that you say, we want our company behind this guy. He's going to show up exciting. He's going to dress well. He's going to speak articulate. He's going to look good. What else do you want from an athlete that's entertaining as he is? There's nothing else for you to ask for. Pay the kid is what I say. Pay him. He served his time. I've served my time. I've suffered long years preparing him for this moment. And right now, this is what he does for a living.
I love it. All right. Well, I hope I get to see both of you compete this year and next, since it sounds like you're ready to go too.
I'm hot. I'm hot over here. Steroid free, all natural. I'm ready to go tomorrow. Give me 2 weeks of training and I can fight 3 5-minute rounds. In fact, I think I can win the title at 155.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Bellator's done a Grand Prix in every division out there except 55. So yeah, throw your hand up and say, put me in.
Hey, coach. If they do a Grand Prix, I wouldn't mind going for it. I think I could do it.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Coach. Great catching up with you. And congratulations on all your success as a team, as a family, everything. You guys are great guys.
Thank you, man. And stay blessed and prayed up. We're getting ready to hit some crazy times in the next year. It's going to be a different world we're going to be living in. So just be prepared for it. And I'm going to continue to pray for the world. And I'm going to pray for everybody that, is not as fortunate as me. So thank you again for having me on MMA Junkie. I'm honored and grateful. And I appreciate everything you guys do for the sport and having the platform, giving us the ability to communicate with the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. It means a lot. Thank you.